It's time for the Financial Crisis Talk Center with Ken Gross and David Einstandig from Thav Gross.
Credit card debt is number one. I view it as financial cancer.
40% of your gross income is going to just pay the debt service. You got no chance of getting out.
I would give up my credit score to get rid of debt.
Here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to the Financial Crisis Talk Center. This segment of the Financial Crisis Talk Center, we are going to talk about the magic of financial crisis segment. We're going to talk about the magic of financial crisis management. This is our first show that's airing in Lansing and Jackson Market on Fox 47, and it's airing on March 30th. So I want a little shout out to everyone in Lansing and Jackson that this is your chance to learn about what financial crisis management is, what we're all about. We're going to be here every week, same time, same station. So I hope you tune in and catch the show. And if you ever want to catch this show on the radio, and if you're in Jackson and Lansing, you can catch it on iHeartRadio. It airs live at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings. And starting April 1, we're going to be on Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. because Bob is back with the golf show.
Caddyshack Bob.
Caddyshack Bob is back. All right, so I want to welcome our Lansing audience viewers. I also want to announce that Thav Gross is opening our first Lansing office. It's going to be located at 303 South Waverly Road, Lansing, Michigan. When I was a kid, I always said my W's like L's, or my L's like W's. Tom Brokaw used to do that too, though. Just wanted to share that. Also, our Lansing phone number is the same phone number as here. It's still 888-235-HELP. Now, what we're doing and what I want to talk about on this show is kind of do a replay on walking through what financial crisis management is about. And the reason why we're expanding now to Lansing, and we want to take this to Flint and to Grand Rapids, and then maybe even reach out beyond Michigan, is we've seen over the last 5 years a change and a shift in the marketplace where you have to look out for yourself when it comes to finances, and there's a much more unique approach to doing it in a comprehensive manner rather than just throwing darts on the wall in terms of what the smart situation is for financial crisis.
Ken, unique but not unique in the sense that we've seen what Chrysler did, we've seen what Collins and Aikman, we've seen what many other companies, GM for instance, that have taken from a business sense all of their toxic or bad assets and put them in old company and said, I got to keep my money for my future in new company. And that is the foundation, one of the foundations and building blocks of financial crisis management, but you got to do it for yourself.
Absolutely. It's your own, you're creating your own NewCo for yourself and reinvigorating yourself, and you're not worrying about the rest of the extrinsic world. But I want to introduce us first. David Einstandig, my co-host, partner at the law firm of Thav Gross. Thav Gross is a business law firm that's been in business for 32 years in the Metro Detroit market. Dave is a business attorney, business litigator. He's got a business mind. Sometimes he says a few things that are smart and funny on the show. He always thinks all of them are smart and funny.
Good morning, Ken. It's always a pleasure to see you.
I'm glad to have you here. Brian Small. Brian is our head of our bankruptcy department, partner in the firm. Brian is the guru when it comes to Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy, in one of the gurus in the entire state of Michigan and the country. And he's also very in tune and with me, the kind of the developer of the theories and strategies that we've put together in what I call financial crisis management. And then I want to say hello to Brian.
Good morning, Ken. Always a pleasure to be here. I welcome our Lansing audience and our Jackson audience, and I look forward to being there and helping those individuals in that segment of the state that are in need of our assistance, because we do have to be everywhere, because that is what the problem is. The problem with the economy and everything that's going on right now is affecting the entire state of Michigan. It's not just the Detroit metropolitan area, but it's everywhere, and we need to bring the solutions to the people.
And there's a couple other players that aren't with us today, but you'll get to meet them. Jenny Wingel's with us often. She's our tax manager in our department, handles tax collection defense. This is a big issue that comes up a lot and frequently on the show. But Jenny's not with us today because her firstborn child is celebrating his first birthday today, Jacob. So she's taking the day off to spend it with him. So hello to Jenny, but you'll get to meet Jenny next week. And also Trevor Cruz, who's going to be the man on the spot from our firm at the Lansing office, will also be on the show, and you get to meet and get to know Trevor. Rather than getting into specifics of how financial crisis management works and everything else, what I want to do is get there and do it by illustration of an example in a story, and then bring it back home in terms of what the theory is and what the various options are and what the heck we're talking about. But we're lawyers, and we're analyzing financial problems to find creative solutions for people that are outside the box sometimes.
And while this may be a hypothetical, we know based on helping thousands of clients, it's a typical scenario.
Absolutely.
And when we get to the numbers, if you're sitting there saying, well, I don't have that much debt or I have twice as much debt, make sure you understand that no matter what, when we get to the solutions, the same solutions apply to you as apply to the story of Dave.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. And David and I often have this conversation. If you're buying and selling a business, and you're entering into a purchase agreement, it doesn't matter if you're buying or selling a business for $10 million or for $250,000. The same issues of warranties, representations, covenants not to compete, the same issues apply. Well, in this case, when we go through an example, whether it's Dave or Sally or Ann or Rick, the same situation applies. The facts may be a little bit different, but the concepts are the same. So let's get to it. Here's the story of Dave, a bright guy. He's got $60,000 of credit card debt. He's got a good job. He makes $120,000 a year. His tax bracket between federal and state, because we have a cumulative tax bracket, is at 25%. His marginal bracket now is higher at $120,000, but his taxes that he's paying on that income are 25%. Here's his situation. With $60,000 of credit card debt, he's got to make payments at 2.5% per month to cover his minimum monthly payments. 2.5% times 60,000 is $1,500 a month. Now remember, $1,500 a month, that's $18,000 a year. So we're coming up on our break, so I'm not going to jam more facts at you, but just kind of focus on that. The guy's got $60,000 of debt. He's making payments of $1,500 a month, and we'll cover that more after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
You like your job. What you don't like is the way your boss has been treating you. He's making comments about how you look instead of your work, and he's been touching you inappropriately. If you complain, is he allowed to fire you? Absolutely not. Unwelcome sexual comments, advances, and contact are illegal in the workplace. Make him pay. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? What's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back to the Talk Center. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of announcements, and then we're going to get back to Dave and his credit card problems. All right, first of all, we've got a couple websites, thavgross.com, financialcrisistalkcenter.com. There's lots of information, news bulletins, and events on both sites. The Financial Crisis Talk Center has a resource center that lays out all these different topical issues and gives you a lot of information as to how they work, what your rights are. And there's also a financial crisis analyzer on that website where you can actually go to it, enter in your information, and it will then generate you a report analyzing your situation from the standpoint of what we call the tools of financial crisis management, suggesting for you what your best play is. It actually sends you a letter and a report in the form of an email.
And how long would it take on average for someone to go through the analyzer on the web?
It's 10 to 15 minutes.
But it can be done any time of the day.
Yeah, and you can start it and then come back to it. And it depends on how much data. Garbage in, garbage out. If you put your accurate data in, you're going to get a better outcome back. And the information goes nowhere. It's not shared. It's not given to anyone. It's not. It goes absolutely nowhere. All private. We don't ask for social security numbers. Nothing like that either. So because you got to be very careful. We did a show a couple weeks ago on identity theft. You got to be very careful about that stuff these days. And also, this website invites you to become a Financial Crisis Talk Center member. If you do that and you click on it, you then get onto our email list. We send updates and news alerts once a week. Anytime there's breaking news in financial crisis markets in terms of opportunities, it's not always financial crisis. Sometimes it's just interesting legal issues, interesting tidbits. If you want to get on there, you're more than welcome to become a Financial Crisis member. Also, if you can, like us on Facebook at Financial, Legal, and Crisis Talk Center on Facebook. I want to thank our show sponsors, Gold Star Law, their employment law specialists, Samasco Law, great elder law attorneys, and Alan Stalter, Elite REO Services, short sale specialist. All right, now, let's get back to Dave. All right, so $60,000 of credit card debt. His minimum payments at 2.5% are $1,500 a month. It's costing him $18,000 a year. He's paying 20% interest on the $60,000 of credit card debt. 20% times $60,000 equals $12,000. What's the percentage of Dave's income that he's spending on these credit cards? Because what you have to do in financial crisis issues is you have to say is, what am I doing, and what's the long-term effect of continuing to do it versus changing? Well, if he's paying $12,000 a year in interest and he's making $120,000, this is an easy one. 10% of his gross income is going to pay the juice, paying the interest.
That's just the minimums, is what you're indicating.
No, that's just the interest. That's not even the minimum payment.
So he'd still be getting in the hole by just paying the 12.
He's getting nowhere by paying the 12 because all he's doing is carrying the juice. Okay. If he makes the minimum payments, which he has to make, he's paying $18,000 a year. That's the $1,500 a month times 12. $120,000. That's 15% of his income.
Okay, so that's the deal. So he's got to basically pay $18,000, but that don't we have to also get to, well, how much money do you need to make those payments?
Yeah, but remember this. We all get our credit card statements now, and when they revised the law in 2010 and they required those disclosures, if you make the minimum payments, you're going to pay off those cards in 39 years.
How many leap years are in there, Brian?
I found that the average is about somewhere around 29 to 32 years to pay off your credit card
and
at
that
the minimum monthly
assumes
payment.
you don't continue to use the card, because every time you use the card and bring the balance up, that number goes up. It doesn't go down if you're making the minimum payments. It's such a farce. But let me keep going. All right, so now ask this question. How much does Dave have to make? This is where you were going. David, this is where you were going about Dave, because David is not Dave, even though I tease you and call you Dave sometimes.
Okay, Kenny.
How much does he have to make in order to net the $24,000 that he, or the $18,000 that he has to pay every year? And here's how it works. If he has to pay $18,000 a year to make the minimum payments, and he's in a 25% tax bracket, you divide 18,000 by 0.75, and that equals 24,000. What that says is he has to make $24,000 of his gross income to pay his taxes to net $18,000 to give it to the credit card company.
And that's before my mortgage. That's before my food.
And what
that's before my kids.
Correct.
I got to spend $24,000. I got to make $24,000 to pay $18,000.
And how much?
Just to maybe tread water.
How much are you making? You're making $120,000. And what percentage is $24,000 of $120? Brian?
Well, that's 20% of Dave's gross income.
Very good on the percentages. That is what I call financial insanity. And if I had $100
but Ken,
for every person like Dave who makes $120,000 and has $60,000 of credit card debt, I'd just be on that cruise ship all
but
the
Ken,
time.
what am I supposed to do? I spent the money. I owe the credit card companies the money. If I don't pay them, they're just going to call me incessantly. They're never going to leave me alone. I've got to pay the money, and this is the only way I can do it because I can only afford the minimum monthly payments. So what can I possibly do to get myself out of this mess?
There's lots of things you can do. Jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge is not one of the ones that I would recommend. What you can do is there's several options, and that's what the tools of financial crisis management are about. Bankruptcy is an option. There's different options. The one that I want to give and cover for Dave right now, which doesn't mean that this is his only option, is how do you go about doing what we call debt resolution, which is settling the debt outside of bankruptcy by using the money that you were going to pay them monthly, that $1,500 a month, and instead using it to settle and resolve all the debt so that you're out of debt within 12 to 24 months, and then you can start saving the money.
Wait, I can be out of debt with the $60,000 of credit card debt in 12 to 24 months instead of 29 to 32 years?
You could, and when we come back from the break, if you let me kind of tell you before we run out of time and the show ends, then you'll find out how.
Fantastic.
But we're coming up to the break. We got a little bit more time, even though we're doing the segue out. Keep in mind, Dave's paying $18,000 a year right now to the credit card company, so he's paying out $1,500 a month. That's the pot we're going to use. We'll be back after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Are you struggling to pay your mortgage? Afraid of foreclosure and the financial mess it can cause? Time is not on your side. Call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist. For years, Alan has been helping distressed homeowners navigate through the short sale process. His experience will get you out of your home without the credit score damage that follows foreclosure. If you want a fresh start, you need to call Alan Stalter, the short sale specialist, 248-854-3829 or MetroDetroitShortSale.com.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Going from hourly to salary seemed like a good career move, but now you're working 60 hours a week instead of 40, and you aren't getting paid any of that extra time. You're stuck, right? Wrong. You can be on salary and still be entitled to overtime. If you've been wrongly denied such pay, you may be entitled to that and more. Gold Star Law is here to help you through your employment law problem, whatever it is.
Gold Star Law, protecting employees' rights. Call 1-800-WAGES-10 for a free consultation today.
An important message if you're planning to file for Social Security disability.
The biggest problem I see is people don't go to an attorney until after the claim for disability is denied. You need to get it right the first time.
Before you file for Social Security disability, call Thav Gross.
We do the homework to make sure the claim is properly presented so that you get the benefits you deserve.
Call Thav Gross, 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Call today.
All right, welcome back. All right, before I show Brian how we solve Dave's problems, I have to do events. We always have events coming up, seminars and so forth, so I'm going to go through them quickly because I want to get back to Dave, and we're already running short of time, which is always the problem that we have on this show. We have seminars coming up, Living Without Debt in the Real World. This one happens to be on March 26th, so if you're watching this show on the 30th, it's a moot issue. But if you want to sign up for that, you go to our websites. That one's in Bingham Farms. Our upcoming seminars in April and May are Don't Be Afraid to Eliminate Debt. There'll be one in Bingham Farms on Wednesday, April 30th from 7 to 8:30. There'll be one in Lansing at the Downtown Public Library in Lansing from 6:30 to 8 p.m. You'll be able to go to our website and sign up for that. Either website, financialcrisistalkcenter.com or thavgross.com, and you can always call 888-235-HELP. The slides on the TV show also have you the information.
Free?
Seminars are free. Seminars are about being the quarterback, laying out in the area of financial crisis management. The biggest problem people have is if you go to a guy who only does bankruptcy, unless he sells you a bankruptcy, he's not making any money. You call up a guy with tax problems, unless you hire him to do tax work, he's not making any money. You call a short sale specialist, he doesn't make any money if he puts you into a bankruptcy. He doesn't do bankruptcy. We do all of those things, and the reason why we do all of them is so that we can select the one that's the smartest one for you. The whole concept of financial crisis management is preserving future income for you and your family, which by definition means finding the smartest, fastest, least expensive alternative to getting rid of the most amount of debt as quickly as possible.
We answer the question, what are my options?
Absolutely. And we also have two other seminars coming up. These are special VA seminars, and it's on a joint project with our firm, Thav Gross, and Simasco Law. Pat Simasco is an elder law attorney, one of the top ones in the state. And the VA benefits provide up to $1,700 a month of assisted care benefit to people, and vets don't even know this. And it's easy to access if you have the right keys and the right information. So we're going to have two seminars coming up on that. Wednesday, April 30th from 6:30 to 8 at the Royal Oak Public Library, and Tuesday, May 13th at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial. If you're out in Lansing and Jackson, it's worthwhile actually making the trip in for this if you're a vet. This is putting money in your hands and in the bank, and it's out there. It's been allocated for vets, and unfortunately people
and just
are
to
not
correct
aware
your
of it.
date, though, Ken, the one on Wednesday at the Royal Oak Public Library, I believe, is April 16th.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Good point. Okay, now back to Dave, because we got to figure out what he's going to do. So instead of paying $1,500 a month to the credit card companies, we settle his debt by stop paying them anything, and then we work to settle the debt. Sometimes he actually ends up in lawsuits, and we settle with them at the lawsuit level, but more often than not, we settle before they get to the lawsuit. The range of settlements range from about 35 to 40% of the amount of the debt. The legal costs run about 7.5%. If you take the outside parameters, 40% settlement, 7.5% legal costs at $47.5 times $60,000, that's $28,500. Divide the $28,500 by $1,500. It's going to take 19 months to get Dave out of debt with the credit cards. Now, the important thing, and I know Brian wants to say something, and I'm going to give you a couple minutes to say it, but I want to get this out there first, because this is the big thing. If Dave can do this, this is what you have to think about. In 2 years, he's done with the credit card debt. He takes the $1,500, he puts it into his IRA or his 401k at work. If he makes 7% on his money over the long-term play, the question I want you to think about is how much money does he end up with? And here's the answer. In 10 years, that grows to $259,629. In 20 years, it grows to $781,394. Dave has a choice. He can spend the next 20 years spending 24% of his gross income, $1,500 a month, and when he gets in 20 years, he's going to have nothing.
And even if you take...
he's going to still owe $60,000 in credit card debt, or he can have $781,000.
And even if you take the rate of return and cut it in half, Dave will have
$350,000.
Close to $400,000 or maybe $500,000 compared to nothing.
Brian.
Well, one of the things
you're dying to talk.
Well, no, one of the things that you mentioned, you kind of quickly glossed over it. You said some of these settlements end up in lawsuits before they are concluded. And what I want our viewers and our listeners to understand is we attack the situation like lawyers because we are lawyers. And the difference between us and all those companies that you see at 4 a.m. that say that they'll settle your debt is when you get sued by those and you go to company X and say, help me. They are not going to help you. In their paperwork, it says, we're not lawyers. We don't represent you. We are lawyers. We do represent you, and we will fight to the ends of the earth to get you the best settlement.
And that's just one aspect. We will handle all of the litigation defense. We will handle the tax issues and the tax advice. We will handle whether or not a bankruptcy, a debt resolution, a short sale, and where you are. We will handle the estate planning questions. We will handle all of those issues to develop options.
That's what I wanted to get back to is whether Dave does debt resolution, or as you see, we're going to go on in the next segments of the show. We're going to talk about when bankruptcy works, when that's a better option. You have to go back to what's the smartest play for Dave. The point of this show is to say this. No matter what happens, Dave has to get rid of the credit card debt. His whole life, his financial future is 100% vested on doing that. Whether it's debt resolution, whether it ends up bankruptcy, one way or another, he has to do it. Otherwise, he ends up retiring with nothing. Have a great week, but we're going to be back with the next segment of the Financial Crisis Talk Center shortly.